Hey guys, welcome back to Hey guys, welcome back to Lisa's Stavenall Art. Today is the start of our studio vlog. This will probably take a few days to film, so I'm going to put up a short tonight. So stay tuned. It will have already been out once this is posted. I don't know. Anyway, we're working on a few things today in the studio. The first thing, I didn't do any of this on camera. I just finished this part, gluing all the tangles or spirals down. This is going to be an abstract piece that I'm going to submit for a show. And the paint colors are only burnt umber, yellow ochre, and Naples yellow. And then shades of those, which I will add black to the color to create the shade, and tints of those because I will add white to these three colors. But these three colors are the only colors plus the black and white added in. And what I'm going to do is paint the book strips that I've cut into all these spirals. And the title is going to be Spiraling Out of Control. So that's what it looks like. And I'm sure later in this vlog, we will be painting on this. But right now, I just glued all these down. And I used my extra heavy gel matte medium by Golden, because that stuff works so much better if you do mixed media art than decoupage. Decoupage is great if you're doing trays, eggs, that sort of thing. But if you're actually doing art on canvas, the gel matte, heavy matte works better because nothing moves and there's not a glare. You can paint over it. It's just better. So that's what I attached my spirals with. And all I did was take book pages and cut them in circles. Okay, so while this dries, I'm going to put it on the floor down there. Next thing I'm going to be working on, and you're going to be here for it, is all of my little vases, paper mache vases I've made. They're so cute. And I have a bunch of different ones. This is the littlest one. You can see the difference. And then the biggest one is probably this one. So I have to finish painting these, and then once they're painted, I'll come back and add some detail on them, decorate them, make them pretty. At some point, we are also going to work on our ACOEs, which, if you don't know, I'm sure you do, are these little tiny cards that artists are doing and selling. This is a great way to get artist artwork for very affordable prices. These are 2.5 by 3.5, and they are $35 each. And I spent a lot of time doing these. Artist, the little ones, art. But you think one like this, which this isn't very big, but it's on canvas. This is a 12 by 16, and it is $2.95. So you see something like this being $35 is not a bad price. And then the bigger you get, of course, the more it costs. So I will have a bunch of different ones. Most of mine are going to be nature and landscapes. So they're going to be cute and fun. And these will be up on my website. Then the last thing we might work on together during this part of the vlog is I have my sketchbook here, and if you watched my video about using a paint stick to create art, I cut these out of that, and what I'm going to do is attach them on this page, kind of like that. And then I'm going to take some embroidery thread and kind of embroidery some color onto the flowers and maybe green onto the stems, and just see how that comes out, because I'm thinking about adding embroidery thread, literally stitching onto paintings. And I always try everything first in my sketchbook. Okay, let's get busy painting because... Alright guys, I'm going to switch you to this camera in just a minute just so you can see the ACOE process a little better, and we'll talk about my process for those in just a second. I did want to show you another paper painting on paper that I've been working on, and this one is a flower field. And the bottom, I have thrown paint for the grass. I threw paint, all the green is the grass and the weeds and stuff. I threw paint for that, and then I dripped paint or flicked paint for all the small flowers. And what I'm going to do on this paint is I'm going to come back in with green paint on a very, very thin brush and draw very tall blades of grass, different sized blades of grass, and then put more flowers, of course, up front. The closer to you, they'll be bigger. The ones that are farther away will be smaller. So that's next on this painting. And then I have this basically same painting, only with the ocean in the background instead of just far off land. And I'm going to do the same technique. So I'll probably film that for you guys when I do that. That one kind of has to be done, obviously, outside. And it rained. So I got a little bit delayed in the flicking and flinging paint. But it's so fun. Okay, I'm going to switch you to up here. And we will talk about AOCs more. Because you might be surprised. I'm going to turn this one off. The sticker and print for Patreon. Okay, I'm getting it ready and I'm making sure you can see what I want you to see. Sometimes if it's off, it doesn't work real well. Alright guys, now you have a better view of my little work table here and the AOCs. And before I paint any scene on these little cards, I do an underpainting with my Soho Urban Artist Acrylic Fluorescent Orange. Not sponsored. This is just, I either use fluorescent orange or fluorescent red, depending on what my main colors are going to be. And it's kind of, if the red, the green works really well. You get really true tones in green when you underpaint with red. You get really true tones in blues when you underpaint with oranges. So I will probably go get my fluorescent red Soho paint as well. And we are going to do 2 of these in the fluorescent red and 2 of these in the orange, because 2 of these are going to be nature, maybe trees, maybe a field with flowers, that sort of thing. And then 2 are going to be something, the ocean, water, something like that. But I do underpaint my AOCs. I treat these just like big paintings. And I let some of the orange poke through. That way it gives depth and it gives a little light and bright kind of realism to your painting. You can see kind of like around the mountains in the background, you can see the orange, like the setting sun. So we might do 3 orange, we're going to do 2 orange and 2 red. But like I said, I treat these little 2.5 by 3.5 just like I do a big 24 by 30, 36 by 36, whatever. Okay. And I have a tub of this because when I went to get orange, they didn't have any. Isn't that pretty? Just love it. So we're going to do the orange first. And to underpaint, all you do is paint it. Like I said, I do this on my big ones and these little ones because I want you to get a good painting. And I think underpainting for me helps the paintings just be that much better. The only thing is they're hard to grab. There we go. There's one. And on the back of these, it has artist name, obviously, what the material is, like acrylic, mixed media, that sort of thing. And then it has the size, the year they were painted, and the title of the artwork. Okay, here's the red. Isn't it gorgeous too? I love these Soho fluorescents. They're so pretty. And like I said, the tone you get by underpainting in these is so perfect. And if you put too much paint down because you didn't want to get out a paint palette, I'm going to show you what you can do. Definitely got too much, so I have a pad of paper where I just put my extra paint down. And I can paint over this red for sure, or I can leave some of it peeking out. But I need to get it off my brush. I don't want to waste it. And I'll show you this pad of paper when we are done prepping. Okay, there's one. And this is our last one. And again, we're going to have too much paint. So I'm going to get my pad of paper back. And we're just going to add more to it. Maybe be smarter than me, and when you underpaint, so you don't waste this paint, because paint and like everything else now is expensive. So don't be dumb and get a palette out. I didn't want to, but I should have. But like I said, that pad of paper, it's not a waste because I do actually frame art off of that pad, and I'll show you now. Okay. So we gotta let those dry again before we go do any art on them. So that'll probably be our next session. And I'm just getting all the art, all the paint off of my paintbrush. So I'm really like, see how it's coming out when I twist it? That's a trick. If you don't want to waste paint, get you a sketchbook and just make it for all your paintbrush wipes. And then be sure and twist your paintbrush in there. Okay. See, it's still coming out. Okay. But I'll show you some of the art in here because I'm getting ready to frame something. These three right here. This is an abstract tree. And I'm going to frame it. I've got to go get a mat for it, but I will be framing it. I'll be framing this one. And it's just from me wiping my paintbrush. And then this one, I wipe my paintbrush into the form of a tree. So, let's see. There's that. There's that. And then there's that. And if I get it on the back, it doesn't matter because I'm going to frame them and you won't see the back. But this is going to be framed very soon and up on my website. So we'll let that dry. We'll let this dry. I'm going to go wash my brushes. And when we come back, we're going to work in our mixed media sketchbook and see how adding a little bit of embroidery thread to that looks. I'll be right back. This is my mixed media sketchbook. And what I want to do is put these stick drawn flowers in here. And then I want to come in with some crochet thread and add some color in different places. So I don't want the crochet thread to be what's anchoring the art to the page. I want it to be the art. So what I'm going to do is get my gel matte medium again, and I'm going to attach this little piece of paper I have underneath here just to give some color anchoring with the rest. And then I'm going to attach the stick drawn flowers. And so tomorrow or our next studio day, we'll come in with our crochet thread. So everything's drying. That's the thing with art, It's like you get in a rhythm, you start getting stuff done, but then you realize, oh, it has to dry. Okay, that's why you should always have multiple projects going, especially if you have a lot of creative ideas and creative energy. I've said it before. If you don't have a lot of different things going, all your ideas are going to pour into one artwork, and it's going to be too much. Because if you have a lot of ideas, it's going to get muddy because they're all going to clash. So it's good to have different things going. I have paper mache, I have paper chains, I have different size paintings, I have sketchbooks. And this way, nothing looks like I'm vomiting art up all onto one project. Okay, now that I left you with that great image, I'm going to go get my gel matte medium, and we're going to get all this down on the paper. I got the gel matte medium, and I got a hog's hair brush because it just works better. And I'm going to glue this little piece right in the center, basically. And the kids are starting to come out and scream. The only bad thing about being an artist and your studio's in your home, and your home is in a neighborhood with families. And I'm not bashing families. I had one. I had little kids. And it's great for them to get outside. I love seeing kids outside playing with nature, riding bikes, doing all the stuff I did as a kid. I love it. But as an artist, when you're in your studio and you're trying to work, it can be a little distracting. And then you have some kids in the neighborhood that are just bad, get into your, just cause problems. I have some neighbors that their kids leave their crap all over your yard, like my yard. They're not my kids. Pick up your toys and put them in your yard. Or parents, if you're not going to make them pick up their toys, then you do it. My yard is not your kids' dumping ground for all their toys, or their bikes, or their scooters, or their balls. You know what I mean. Hey, that's the big one. This is the medium one. And we're going to kind of bring it down like right there. And the little one's going to go right like that. But again, I don't want to live in some 50-plus community either. I'd love to live in an artist community, where everybody around you's artist. And I don't see that happening for a while. But people that I've known that have moved into those 50-plus communities, they said it's like going to die. I don't know, maybe they just picked a bad one. But they were like, my neighbors are all older with walkers and stuff, and they were like, I felt like I was there to die, which is kind of, oops, I don't want that. I kind of want it to show. There we go. And I thought that was an interesting, because I hadn't heard that before till a couple of my friends started doing it. They thought, oh, it'll be nice. There'll be women my age, or couples. And they said, no, it was horrible. People with walkers, old people, and then they die and their house becomes available. And they moved out. They said that was the most depressing living they've ever done. So how many of you have ever lived in a 55-plus or a 50-plus community? And was your experience the same as theirs? Was it better? Was theirs just kind of a weird fluke? There we go. Let me know. I'd love to know. Not that I'm going to move into a 50 or 55-plus community. I'm just really curious if anybody else's experiences were different than my friends, because theirs was actually horrible. I never get the edges enough. Never. Hopefully that's enough. Okay, so now this is going to dry so my thread doesn't get all sticky when I'm trying to pull it through. So this will be another day as well. But we will come back to all of this. You will see, because I have to get the ACOEs done. I have to try this experiment. And I want to finish all the mini vases up. Hey guys, we're back for another round of vase painting. On the green one, let me see if I can fix you. You are a little crooked. Did that help? Okay. We're back for another round of vase painting. This one just needs painting all over, everywhere. So I'm gonna do the blue one all over. The green one, as you can see, is kind of splotchy. We're gonna try to fix that with another coat. This big white one, I am going to do in the burnt sienna. The red one's just got a little bit of finishing touches on it. And this one I was going to spray paint gold, but I don't want it to look like a candle holder because it already kind of does. So I'm going to paint this one purple. So we're just going to jump in and get this done so I can finish these and get them listed. This is the one I'm doing now. It's like a little pot. A little pot that is paper mache that you could put styrofoam in the center and make a mini full bouquet. Now after these dry this time, I will come in with some Mod Podge just to seal them off so if the paint doesn't scratch off, that sort of thing. But there we go. The blue one is done. Okay, the blue one's done. Put that over there. We're going to finish the red one. It doesn't have that much left. Just a tad inside. Now, this paint I don't need because this one didn't quite turn out. It's too lumpy. It's got some mess ups with the paper mache, so we're not going to do anything with that one. Let's do this one. Now this green paint, for this green base, I need the paint palette. This paint, it's Master's Touch, and it has a very weird consistency. The green does. I like the white, but the green is just kind of weird. Have y'all used Master's Touch acrylic paint? And what do you think about it? I will say this. The outside of this vase does not feel like it will need to be sealed with Mod Podge when I'm done. It really feels plasticky. And I know all acrylic paint is plastic based. I don't understand why this brand though is so, like Liquitex does not have this consistency. So I don't understand the difference. I know it's formula based, obviously, but it's just weird. And I don't like how it dries so splotchy. I'm going to save that green paint. We're going to use it on our ACOE cards, which we still have to work on as well. Because I haven't done anything on those either, but we'll go to this camera. Well, you can't see it. We'll go to my cell phone overhead camera. Can y'all hear Henry snoring? He's my little white dog. He is snoring so loud. Okay, we're probably just going to let this one dry at this point because I can't manipulate it very well to get it flipped around. Okay. Now I've got to go get another brush and the purple paint. I'm going to use this paint. Shoot, I need a brush. Okay. I didn't shake the paint up. That's why I had to wipe what I just squirted on off We're going to shake it up now. Yeah, I like that better than the gold. I did not want it to look like a candlestick for sure. Hey guys, okay, so I was working on this painting, and as you can see, I started ripping the glued swirls or spirals off because it wasn't working. It wasn't working out, but I wanted to show you, if you mess up on something like this that is mixed media, you can fix it, okay? You don't have to trash the whole thing just because you mess up. What we're going to do is we are going to take some gesso. This is all dry, so I'm going to take my gesso and I'm going to gesso over everything, and then we're going to let it dry. So if you have a mixed media piece and you think it's starting to get messed up, stop. If you need to peel anything off of it, peel it off. You know, it's fine. But you can definitely, let me get a bigger palette knife. But you can definitely save it. Just because you messed up doesn't mean... Okay guys, I don't know when the battery died, but this is the spiral painting. I hope you saw it. And what I did was, when I was painting it, I did not like the way all the paper... When I was painting it, I didn't like the way it looked. So what I did was I peeled a whole bunch of the book page off, and what was left, I started covering with gesso, but then when I was putting the gesso on it, a lot of the book pages started coming off more. So I'm just going to come back in and peel them off. And here's what I want to say. Artists mess up all the time. And when you are working with mixed media, you can definitely, when you're working with paint, if you mess up, don't trash the whole canvas, because canvas are expensive. And especially now. So, you know, you can save your artwork by just starting over. And one great way of starting over is, if it's mixed media, peel off any of the the 3D media, like the book pages or whatever. If you can peel that off, peel as much as you can off of your canvas. And then just gesso over it. And then when the gesso dries, if you want it smooth, come in with a light grit sandpaper and just sand over it. So all I'm going to do is just re-gesso over the part I just peeled off again. And that's it. Artists change their minds. Artists don't like what they're doing. You know, and you mess up. Great. Everybody messes up. And I say some of the best art is made from people messing up. So if you mess up, it's not failing. It's just your creative voice is seeing a different way to take your work. I did talk to you about those stick flowers that I cut out and glued into my sketchbook. And as you can see, I have started doing the stitching around them. And like I said, this is just kind of a, how is this going to look for me to see the technique together? And if I like it, I'm going to put it on probably a 12 by 12 canvas, maybe a 12 by 16 canvas. But I just kind of want to see, I had the idea in my head, and the sketchbook is kind of where I try out all of the ideas. And I think it's looking pretty good. And it's harder to do this stitching on paper versus on a canvas, because a canvas is a fabric, where this is obviously paper. But I am going to finish stitching out all of these. The yellows that I have stitched right now are like the background, the sun, the sky, behind the flowers. I'm going to do some stitching inside the flowers, the color I picked, and I showed you that yesterday or day before, and I'm going to do out the stems as well. But we're not doing them solid. We're just going to do kind of outlines like I did. Okay guys, so today I'm going to finish all those ACOE so I can get them listed. I'm just going to paint some flowers on this. Okay, we're going to let those dry. Look at these, aren't these cute? These are crocheted flowers, and I thought I'm just going to trim off the stem and put it in this little red one. See, that's what you can do with little paper mache vases, and you can change those out. They add roses and all sorts of other ones. So we're going to do this one. This is like a little bowl vase. I bought some green floral foam, and then I got a big thing of flowers here, but we're just going to cut them off and put them in our little vase. There you see, you can make little arrangements in these little bitty paper mache vases. So guys, I realized I didn't film an outro for this very chaotic artist vlog, but that's kind of how life is when you are working on multiple different things. So if you like what you saw, please give it a thumbs up. Also, don't forget, oh, I had something in my hair, sorry. Don't forget, if you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button with that little bell. I'm going to be doing a day in the life of an artist and what an artist eats in a day and what an artist wears. Because these are things you don't see. I thought I'd do something different. Now, I'm not going to be doing a lot of hauls. I just can't be buying artist supplies. I have plenty. I will buy what I run out of. But I will be doing how to use artist supplies and all of that. There just won't be any unboxings. Because why? I don't need anything. And we're not going to spend money on very expensive art supplies that we will not use. And I am on a budget. See you next time, guys. Don't forget, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. And again, if you haven't yet, hit subscribe. Take care. Bye-bye.